welcome to episode 67 of Winging It. Leipzigazig. The news is upon us that Glasner's been offered a new contract. We're going to tuck into that shortly. I've got Sam Hesketh and Sam Hesketh only with me today.
Yeah, not in a paradise venue for a supposed wedding? Bachelors? What is it, a stag or is it a wedding? Wedding. So yeah, I'm here with you.
Nice. Well.
Oh well, then fuck it.
What do you mean, fuck it?
Bangkok has him now, and she'll never let him go.
He's never coming back.
We'll never see him again.
We'll never see him again. Right, before we talk about Oliver Glasner, do I want to open this beer and drink it? I had a few Guinnesses last night, to say the least, watching Liverpool get knocked out of the Champions League. So I'm going to do it. It's only a 4%. It's called Glue Tack.
Glue? Oh,
Glue
wow.
Tack. And it's from Daya. This beer is a sessionable version of our beloved IPA Glue. Citrusy tropical refreshment and a little less sticky.
Great.
Did Albert send us one from Bangkok?
He did. I've actually got it up on my phone. It's a snowy rosé beer. And it says, it has a picture of a bear on it for some reason. Immerse yourself in the colourful, fruity snowfall with raspberry flavour. Little things make big days bursting with individuality. I don't even know if that really makes sense. But anyway, Albert sent that, and I think he's got I was going to say a pack of Chang behind it, but that could be getting him in a bit of trouble. Chang the beer.
Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah. So. Oh, that's nice. Actually, it's quite light. Lovely. It's not an 8% that will tip me over the edge today. You know, I believe the kids say these days I've been banging gym since the first time since COVID. I've gone back to the gym, although I don't think the term banging gym was introduced for doing leg bums and tums at lunchtime. Yeah, I think I now know how Neil Ruddock felt trying to get in those shorts. That's basically.
Oh, geez.
But yes, Leipzig are sniffing around, apparently, Oliver Glasner. And contract talks are allegedly opened. I do love it when an influencer, a football influencer such as Fabrizio Romano, says something. If we don't like it, it's like, this guy knows nothing. As soon as it's something we like, everyone's like, yes, send it in. But yeah, apparently promises of investment and players and being backed. So, I mean, this can only be a good thing if we get him to sign on for more years.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, you know, we're used to with players, any player that has a good season or a good run gets linked with all these other clubs, and you worry that they're going to go, and it's no different with a manager. Obviously, we know Bayern were interested last year before they got the powerhouse of Vinny Company.
Long live Vincent Company.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently, you know, there's, like you say, talks about backing him in the window. The assumption seems to be that Gay will go, as we've said all along, but that despite interests coming for Wharton and JP, they're not going to be sold. We're going to give him the players he wants, hopefully in the time frame that he wants them this time. But it all sounds fairly positive. I mean, I'm sort of expecting something to go horribly wrong, as I always do. But yeah, all the noises sound pretty optimistic.
Well, the good news is that if it does all go pear-shaped and Glasner does decide to leave, Roy should be fully rested up by now.
He's in Bangkok with Albert at the moment.
Shout out Roy Hodgson. Hope all is well. No, he's an ardent listener of this podcast.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the pre-record, Fulham tickets have gone on sale on the day of recording. Fulham quarter-final tickets. Causing havoc. People are losing their minds on social media about loyalty points and how it's completely unfair. And I mean, I tend to agree with them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it was that, what's his name? Steve Parish parody account. Is it the Beak or something?
Yeah.
He was on there. Sorry, I'm flicking through here. He suggested something that the only people can get tickets people at the 1990 FA Cup final, Jim Cannon's debut, were season ticket holders at the Nest, all that kind of stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's tough. I mean, as a beneficiary of having a lot of parish points, as you are, we're always going to be all right, really. But having spoken to people who are sort of the third level down when they do the phases, essentially sort of already knowing they're not going to get a ticket. And the last I looked, the tickets are pretty sparse already. It's tough. But I suppose, they've got to decide how people get tickets some way. And then unless they do like just a normal ballot for everyone, I suppose this is the way that it's going to be for a while.
Yeah, I don't know what the measure it like, how they can judge if you create a tier that is matches across the last 3 years or average points across the last 3 years or something based on matches.
Yeah,
if it is, you can end up with scenarios where people have started going regularly for the last 4 years. They go to every game home and away, and they still won't be anywhere near
true
the top brackets. And even like you spend money in the club shop and you scan your season ticket, those points aren't going on.
No, they're
because
not.
You scan your season ticket and they tell you to scan them, they will not go on. You need to go to the ticket box office and get them to add the points on with your receipt. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess really, and that's how I can probably miss every game for the next decade and probably still have enough points, and that does feel stupid. But there we are.
Yeah.
I'm only enhancing and putting a microscope over the problem. I have no solutions.
Yeah, same. We can agree that there is a problem and just leave it at that.
Yeah, and even that whole thing there is actually I won't. I'm probably just going to incriminate myself, so I won't say anything. Palace have been in an iconic, legendary figure from Crystal Palace popped up in the news this week when Nico Williams from Bilbao was interviewed, saying Wilfried Zaha, I liked him a lot when he was at Crystal Palace. He was a player that I loved to watch. I did my hair like this to look like him. Ballers, no ballers, right?
Yeah, come and join Palace, mate, if you want. Recreate the steps of your favourite ever player. That was quite nice. I also saw a thing when they interviewed Beto, the Everton player, saying, about his LeBron celebration. He was like, it's actually a Christian Benteke celebration. I feel like I've gone into like Alice in Wonderland. What's going on?
Yeah, everyone remembers Source FC. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Those are the days. I saw like a stat, picture the other day, which was the top 3 dribblers in the Premier League with Zaha, Eze and Elise. Now, I don't doubt anyone's on that, even in the top 10.
Yeah, probably not. A shame.
Yes. But talking of the way players look, Mateta's back in training and he's sporting an Eric Young style headband, shades of ninja.
Yeah, as if he wasn't a cult figure enough, like shaving his head and tucking his shirt in. He's now got a headband. It's great. I love it. But whether it stays on when he's playing or when he comes back or not, I hope it does. I love it. Looks great.
No, would he be allowed to head with it on though? Isn't there some sort of rules about? I don't think he'd be allowed to head the ball. Yeah.
Another conspiracy against us.
Yeah, it'd be like, I don't know, the American football deflate gate and all of that stuff. It's like it could cushion the ball better for headers or something. But little do they know he can't head the ball anyway. So
Yeah,
it does like that. And he's actually getting better at that as well. And as if we weren't lucky enough to have Joey Barton wading in on all things Mateta last week, this week we've had Troy Deeney.
Oh, God. What's he said?
On JP scoring 28 goals in 46 games, up there with Salah and Haaland.
Yeah.
He has said, did he never play before that? I think he's going for a good fame of form because Palace are good at the moment. He's not the answer for Crystal Palace.
Who is then?
It's a shame Albert isn't here because he would obviously agree with his GOAT, undoubtedly.
Exactly. Watford is as Watford does. What a stupid thing to say. I mean, if it's a good run of form, it's a pretty long run of form.
His goal tally last season already surpasses Deeney's best goal tally in the Premier League, as will this season by the end of it. So I'm not really sure what he's getting at.
He's an idiot. No, that's my in-depth reporting on that. What a stupid thing to say. Fucking hell.
28 goals in 46 games. We play without him on the weekend and look like we can't hit a barn door.
Yeah.
But he's not the answer.
No, he's not. What do you want a goal scorer for?
I know who the answer is, though. It's Ryan Brownlee.
Oh, now we're talking.
He's in the interview saying that he's Jamie Vardy, basically. So I expect massive things.
So does that mean he's going to be good when he's 28?
Yeah, exactly.
Give it 10 years, guys, and I'll be the bargain of the century.
Send me out on loan to Barnet for a few years. Yep. But no, apparently he's an extremely talented player. So another, showing our worldwide scouting network with that one.
Yeah, I think I was watching the highlights of the 18s win at the weekend, which I was obviously paying a lot of attention. I'm pretty sure it was against West Ham. And he almost scored. We scored from a rebound of his shot, but he's made his debut. So, hopefully he'll do well.
Nice. And someone who has been doing well for Palace with 6 key passes against Ipswich and an outrageous pass to Eddie Nketiah that we'll get onto. Adam Walton's name's being thrown in the mix with the likes of Real Madrid now. Ideal.
Great. He's been back for 1.5 games. Just give us a full season. Mate. Well, Troy Deeney probably says he's not the answer either. So what do I know?
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at the last 10 in the Premier League, we're second in form. Obviously, you discount the first 8 games of the season, we're third in the league. I don't think he needs to go to Real Madrid, does he? If we just have a full season with Glasner, a full season with our current side that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the road to world domination. So,
although qualifying for Europe next season might put a spanner in the works and it might affect our league form.
This stressed me out last week and it's stressing me out this week, this talk about Europe. There was a thing in The Athletic this week, very, very tongue-in-cheek from Woosnam, about there's a world in which finishing 11th gets you into Europe. The answer to which is obviously, Palace will finish in 12th anyway. So
it won't be. It'll be because it involves not Ipswich. That would be something.
Oh God!
It involves Villa winning the Champions League, and
still on, by the way.
Yeah, it's still on. But you know what would happen, don't you? Villa would lose they'd blow the Champions League final. They'd be 2-0 up and lose 3-2 in the last minute, and we'd be out.
Well, it's just after the game on Saturday, a mate of mine who is about as polar opposite to me and miserable Dave as you can get is our mate Nick Langley, who's the most positive, optimistic person on earth. Some may say delusional, but almost every game he sees me after we win, and he's like, "Where are we going first round in Europe? Portugal, Spain." I'm like, "You gotta lay off, man. I've not had a beer yet."
Carry a bag.
Yeah. Listen, Albania. That's where I want to go.
You know, like, I guarantee you what it will be is someone we've already done in a pre-season before.
Yeah.
We'll draw like Helsingborg or something.
Fucking Samsonspor.
Yeah, but like a Samsung sport. I mean, I think they're up there, aren't they? I think they're having a really good season. So you joke, it could be Samsung sport. Wow. It's definitely a pod in there somewhere.
Did you say it wasn't an 8% beer that you're having?
It's a 4%, half of that. Oh. It's very delicious, though. Very light. I'm enjoying it. Light and citrusy. As if you all needed to know so much. But yeah, hopefully we can keep hold of Wharton for at least one more year. Let's have a full year of him.
Yeah.
Beautiful player.
Great.
Although, ironically, I think he tried a bit too hard in the second half against Ipswich, but we'll get into that a little bit. And then finally, one day after saying that they're running out of money by Christmas, Manchester United have announced they're going to build a £2 billion stadium. Not quite sure how that works out.
Which looks like a circus tent from the picture I've seen.
I don't know. It's like me saying to my kids, you can't have that pack of Haribo, but here I've bought the Cadbury's factory.
Yeah, exactly. You now own Nestle.
I mean, a Man United fan at work was immediately like, what we didn't need right now was a stadium announcement where the stadium looks like a circus.
Exactly. How did this get through? He'll be sacking the marketing department next anyway, so...
Yeah, I haven't watched that interview with Gary Neville. I mean, why would I? I saw a clip where he was saying, why don't you put Harry Maguire and so out to a 40 grand dinner? So instead of just cutting that 40 grand for ex-players from the 60s. Yeah, it just sounds dreadful, really. Like a big mess.
I haven't seen it, but anything that Ratcliffe says or does is not for me. So I'll leave that interview alone, I think.
Yeah, rats is very appropriate.
Exactly.
But long may our demise continue. And
it's great
relegation next season. Sell Bruno. That will solve your problems.
Oh my God. Like, obviously they're not going to go down, but how fucking good would that be? That would be so good.
It'd have to involve a points deduction. Surely that can be pulled out from somewhere. Maybe they'll select the wrong Manchester when they do the points deduction. And they can go down. Oh, okay, right. We won, I don't know what it is now, a 20th game in a row against Ipswich on the weekend. Seems like all we do is win now.
Yeah.
Isn't it something stupid like 9 of the last 11 in all comps?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wild. The more and more I think about the fucking balls in that Everton game and Brentford games up at home. Could you imagine?
I know.
We'd be like 11 straight wins. It's ridiculous. Is that right? It just feels like it can't be right. But I was reading. It's just ridiculous.
I think they're the only games we've lost this year, right? So, yeah.
Crazy. But no, we talked about it after Villa that it was starting to feel a little bit like the end of last season. And it's proving to be quite true. This break has coming at a dreadful time, really. Although, it's kind of a bit of a break for everyone in most senses. But we've gone to Marbella to try and who are we playing? What's the team we're playing called?
We're playing Ham Cam. Yeah, no relation to Cam Jam.
How do I find a bookie that will take a bet on Will Hughes getting booked in that game?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
They will be like, for your £100 bet, you can have back £101. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously needed to get players minutes in their legs because we've got such a big break going through there. And, obviously, given the Mateta injury, it's come at a great time for that, to allow him to recover. Less so for Will Hughes because he then misses the next 2 games anyway, or next one as well. So it's all a bit like, but pros and cons to everything. But I like the way Glasner talks about it. It feels like he's going to keep him in check and hit the ground running after.
Well, I think last year we did it when fairly early on, and I think when we came back, we really clicked. It was good. I think for him to get everyone away then and get to know him and get to know their tactics and all that sort of thing. And probably this year, it's a chance for him to, keep people fit, get people. Although I did think it was funny that it was warm weather training, and the first bit of the video that they put up yesterday was absolutely pissing with rain. But there's a few youth teamers there. I think they've taken Hindalo Mustafa, Zach Marsh, Kapora's there, Caden Rodney's there as well, I think, which is good for them. It gives JP time to recover, like you say. So I think it'll be good. A friendly is obviously not competitive, and a friendly against Ham Cam is not the same against Newcastle away. But at least it's keeps them fit and the group together and that sort of thing, and hopefully that keeps spirits up and is good in the long run.
Yeah, and they're going to be in great spirits, as I say, after beating Ipswich. It was a tough afternoon at Selhurst. Felt like it might not come, but it eventually did. And sort of more played into the idea that it probably is good for our running, given that our running's really difficult, that with the bigger teams giving us more space we can play with. But yeah, it's really hard to use Saar, for example, in games like Ipswich where they don't give him much space to exploit and so on. But yeah, it was a tough afternoon, wasn't it?
It was, and it was sort of a weird one with Ipswich because they're pretty tidy on the ball and they play some all right stuff. But at the same time, I can see why they let goals in and why they maybe don't score that many, which obviously is a terrible combination when you're trying to stay up. And I think, you talked briefly about that Wharton pass in the first minute or second minute. It's obviously a very different game if Nketiah puts that away, not to dig out Nketiah. Because then Ipswich would have to open up and leave a lot of space. But I suppose the way to look at it is it was a tough game and we weren't at our best by any means, but we still sort of ground it out and scored a very good goal in the end, I thought, from Saar, because it was not pretty to watch, and I would hate to look at our pass completion rate.
Yeah.
Especially Jefferson Lermers.
That pass in the first half where he was aiming for Munoz like 30 yards away and he hit it to the corner flag.
There wasn't, to be fair to him, there was a couple of passes he made that were absolutely terrible, and he just sort of stood there and put his hand up immediately like, I know.
Yeah, I think when Adam Morton's having a day with 60, I think it was 64 or 67% pass accuracy, it just probably shows how good a job Ipswich did, because as the game went on, we tried to force things more and more, and Morton was trying to really thread the eye of the needle because it was the only way you could break the lines, really, because they did a really good job at defending it, offered a threat on the counter and so on. But yeah, back in the first minute, Wharton's outside of his boot pass, puts Nketiah for a goal. Keeper does well to come out. You say you don't want to dig out Nketiah. I'm not going to dig him out, but I feel like it was a bad afternoon for him in the sense that, other players are probably to blame as well, because service into him was dreadful. Lots of times, he's very adept at bringing the ball down on his chest high up in the air, and he did it quite a few times in the game really well. But service into him wasn't great. And I think it was one point Sarr got to the byline and cut it back to him, and he nearly got across the front of the defender. But then basically after that, completely disappeared from the game. Ends up coming off, and the guy replaces him in the front line, scores almost immediately.
I was going to say it's tough for him as well. And again, this is not his fault, but it's very noticeable when he's in there, sort of JP. The centre backs are just bigger and more physical than him, and he's trying his best. And he did bring, like you say, he brought some balls down pretty well on his chest. But I think he's, if that's JP, JP ain't getting bullied. JP's not going to get sort of pushed and pulled around. And it just sort of underlined how important this apparently guy who is not the answer for Palace and JP is actually the answer for Palace.
But it also didn't help that Simon Hooper was the ref who just he infuriates me every time I watch him referee a game, because I should enjoy him in the sense that he's trying to let the game flow, and he allows it to be a little bit physical, but it was just getting ridiculous in the end. By the end of it, they just up the ante each time, and Nketiah, and in the end they would just throw him on the ground, throw Ebbs on the ground, and Hooper was giving him nothing. And I think Nketiah cast a really frustrated figure by the end of the game after being thrown on the floor one too many times, and I think you saw it when he was subbed off as well, like walking off the pitch really slowly when we're drawing 0-0 at home probably isn't the best way to endear yourself to the fans.
Yeah, true.
Maybe the two goals in the last couple of games has, brought him a little bit of grace, but you can't be walking off the pitch when we're drawing 0-0 at home and against a team we should be beating. Ipswich showed their threat on the counter, got away down the left, and Philogene brings out a really good save from Dean Henderson. We talked about him last week not having enough saves to make recently, and it seems we manifested some for him.
Yeah, I mean, that save for Philogene was really, really good, because from where I'm stood, I'm sure you as well, when that break was coming, I could just see Philogene herring down the middle, and I was like, it's someone no one seems to have noticed. He's just fucking running straight onto it, and he hit it pretty well. But yeah, Hendo got it down very well. Good strong hands. Made another good save in the first half from the Brighton guy, who I hate.
So
yeah, he's a little rat. But again, a good save. I think it was on Match of the Day. Joe Hart was on, and he was like, it's a save. You'd be like, yeah, he should save that. But then when you look at it, the ball's kind of gone behind him a bit, and he's angled his body and got in the way of it.
What you also can't appreciate on the TV, you might have had as good a view of it as I did. It moved loads really late. Yeah. So everyone around me was like, fuck me, that moved. I thought it was in. So he did, extra special to get his hands to it and push really it wide from behind him. And it's always lovely when there's goalkeepers on Match of the Day talking about goalkeepers, because, people don't know, be like, oh, he's made a meal of that, or something he should save. But in reality, it's a really, really good stop from him. I think somewhere in between, I think Lerma drags a shot wide from range, and Wharton again, little pass in behind. I think it was only 3 or 4 yards to break the lines, and then Nketiah got away, put Ebbs in, but a shot gets blocked and deflected wide.
Yep.
But then other than Enciso at that point is saved. Sarr gets the ball across to Eddie, but he can't get on the end of it, and that takes us to half time at 0-0. And you kind of nervousness ain't the right word, but it was definitely lots of discussions at half time about how it's going to be a struggle to break them down. But luck is almost on Ebbs' side towards the start of the second half, when a mad shot deflects up and loops over the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, comes back out off the woodwork.
Yeah, I thought that was in all the way until it wasn't. Just because of the way it looped, and then just really sort of like, it's when you see the goalkeeper sort of trying to get it and not getting it, you're like, that's in. So really unlucky. And again, that's the sort of thing where if that goes in, that opens the game up again, and then we could really like start to play with a lot more freedom and positivity. But still remained a little bit nervy after that.
It did. And Eze getting caught in possession didn't help, and they all of a sudden break away 2-on-1. Forced to Enciso again, but thankfully he's made a really poor decision to shoot from range, really, where both Palace defenders got sucked towards him. The one who was already back and the one that tracks back. And if he would have just had a bit of composure, he should have played it back to the player who played him in, and he would have had a clear run on goal. But he shoots it straight at Dean Henderson for another save, and then he's at it again from Liam Delap at the near post. But this was after yet another freaking foul. And, I think it was Nketiah who got hauled to the ground, and I do wonder if that one would have got pulled back by VAR.
Yeah. Another good save from Hendo there, because that Delap's a bit of a tank, isn't he? So I'm sure there's a lot of power behind that shot. And again, it's probably another one we're like, well, yeah, the goalie should save it, but you've seen goalies not save those. So I think Hendo stood up well and got a really good hand to it. Yeah.
What did you make of Delap?
I thought it was all right. I didn't think Max had a great game. I think Delap was getting the ball away from him quite a bit when they launched it up. He's not all arms and legs. He's definitely a physical guy and gets away with quite a bit. And I can see why, if someone's looking at him as a sort of long-term target, probably in the next couple of years, he'll be really good. He's a lot better than I thought he'd be, because when they bought him, I was like, they've spent a lot of money on him and he hadn't scored that many goals for Hull. Was it Hull? I think it was Hull. So I was like, they're banking on him doing really well, and I don't see it. And I was wrong. He's done really well from this year. And I thought he gave Lacroix a pretty torrid game. Thankfully, Richards I thought was excellent. So it sort of evened it out a bit.
Yeah, I think if there's been links with Mateta away from the club as well, Manchester United supposedly interested. I reckon Glasner could turn Delap into a superstar, to be honest.
Yeah, you could see it for sure.
I don't know how much money it'd cost, and it would probably involve Ipswich going down, but yeah, I was really impressed. His strength, his athleticism, I think he's got everything. How many times have people talked about Chris Armstrong is the player you'd bring back from El Pas to play in modern day football? He's like all of those sort of attributes, really. And for someone so young, you can only imagine that Glasner would put him in positions to score goals like he does with Mateta.
Yeah, and he keeps defenders on their toes. Like even if he hasn't scored or hasn't had that many shots, he seems like a pain in the arse to defend against. He's a lot better than I thought he was, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I was really, really impressed. Really impressed. From that Dean Henderson save at a near post and Delap, they get a corner and a back post header causes havoc. I think he heads it straight at Henderson, but a Ipswich player comes across him, so he can't catch it and ends up just sort of like parrying it out. And from the other end, you can't see what's going on.
Yeah,
I couldn't see the ball. Just a mass of players. I'm just like, the net's going to bulge. The net's going to bulge.
That horrible feeling where you see the ball hit the away fans go crazy. All of their players skid off towards them. I was exactly the same. When it ping pongs around like that, and you're like, well, I lost the ball at this side of the area, and all the players are looking at the other side of the area now. So thankfully, I think it was Sarr, wasn't it, on the line, who managed to boot it away in the end. But yeah, that was a heart and mouth moment a bit.
Yeah, really, really helpful for Sarr, and probably plays into his rating on all the statistic websites that had him in the best 11 for the weekend in all the European top 5 leagues. And it was,
nice.
Clearance off the line, ends up scoring the goal. Eze wasn't content with one looped up deflected shot to the far post, that he tried to replicate it. And again, it was like the keeper was completely scrambling, but gets the touch this time. But I'm watching back, it's going wide, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is even more now where it starts to get into that it's not going to be our day. And it comes about when they play the ball out from the back and Munoz is all over their left back like a rash. And I thought he pulled up with a hammy or something, but he just embarrassed himself so bad he didn't know how to behave. And with the way Munoz has been recently, you was expecting to see him beat the keeper, but again, the keeper does really well.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I thought the keeper had a pretty good game actually. That he was the two saves he made from Nketiah and Munoz, he was out really, really quickly. But still, like you say, with Munoz and the form he's in, despite my little jingle that keeps getting played, I was like, it's a bit like, I think I've mentioned before, but like when Van Aanholt was with us, when he went 1-1, I was like, well, he's scoring. And Munoz is sort of the same now. You're just like, well, he knows how to score. But it was a really good save. And definitely at the time I was like, that was the chance. That was the one that would win us the game. So when the goalie saved that, I really thought it wasn't our day.
Yeah, especially when it becomes our turn to piss around at the back and it results with them having a header at the back post, which he just can't get over and around it quite, but, a slightly better delivery into him. And then, it's a completely free header on goal, which, Dino would have to be really lucky to get some hands to.
Mm-hmm.
But then we make the magical change and Kamada comes on.
Yes.
No, it's so funny. Like after the game, discussing Sar's goal, and we was like, it's a Kamada assist, isn't it? And it was just like, hasn't he like back-heeled it to him? And then it's like suddenly we're like watching the camera angles, and for all the camera angles, you could make an argument that he's back-heeled it. On a couple of them. And then it wasn't until like a day later I was just like, I have to concede that Kamada was tackled and it wasn't a back heel.
It's so funny you say that, because literally on the way on the walk down to the Glaziers after the game, I was saying to Vanessa, I was like, oh man, it's so good for Kamada to get that. Like, that is a cheeky pass, little back heel, gets the assist, brilliant. Got into Glaziers, and I said it to someone else, and they were like, "Oh no, mate, a defender got it." I was like, "Oh, fuck, don't say that." I had a glorious 3 minutes where I thought Kamada had back-heeled an assist.
But the turn of pace from Sarr though, to get away from that defender, who I think it's the same one that Mateta put on his arse in the reverse fixture, wasn't it? But the way he left him behind was just incredible, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, and he didn't even have that much space to work in. He just seemed to absolutely race past him. And even, the chip itself, the keeper was out again pretty quickly, and he found the space to chip it over him. It was a great goal. It was a great goal, especially from where we stand. Seeing that goal, the ball ripple in the net, and Sarr sort of run off behind the goal for the celebration. Oh, it was brilliant. And what did you think of the celebration? Because I know you snapped.
Do you know what? It's so weird. Like I rarely get my phone out of football to take pictures. Like rarely. I'll take pictures of nice skies over Palace, like when the sun's setting and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got loads of those. But as soon as I saw him point at the corner flag, I was like, oh, I got to try and get this on camera, and I'll end up nailing it. If you saw it on our Insta, I got some great pictures of him kicking the corner flag, and it's nice. I mean, he hasn't died, Mateta, has he? Thankfully, and he's going to be back very soon, and he's in great spirits and whatever. But you could see from his socials that Mateta absolutely loved it. And again, once again, shows that togetherness, which I can't remember if we talked on last week's pod about Roy Keane talking about how much he loved our celebration for Eddie Nketiah's goal against Villa and stuff like that. But it is, you do see that togetherness with them, that they are definitely a unit, and there's no big wigs in there. It's all just everyone's playing for each other, and it's lovely to see. Yeah,
it's great. I don't think we did talk about the Roy Keane thing, but I've never seen Roy Keane talk like that before, and it was fucking weird. If you haven't seen it, it's on whatever that podcast is. It Overlap, is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
With Ian Wright and Gary Neville and them. And it's just Roy Keane talking about how lovely it is to see that everyone, all the players, like, we're really happy for Nketiah scoring against Villa and how lovely it is and lovely and lovely. I was like, this is fucking weird, man. I've never heard Roy Keane be nice. But it's true. It's true. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any egos. Even there was a interview with Chilwell in the programme and he was sort of saying the same, like, I'm new, but the squad here is really happy and everyone's together. And if I can help with some advice, I will. And I can, I feel part of the group already. And that leads in, to what we were saying about this Marbella trip, keeping Glasner. Everyone buys into what he's doing and it all sort of wraps itself up really well. And I thought it was a great celebration from Sarr, albeit he didn't get his legs up to kick the corner flag as much as JP.
He did look shattered, though, to be honest.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and we end up seeing the game out and holding on to the 1-0 to get 3 points we'd have expected to get, climb up the table a bit. Teams behind us don't get results, so we hold on to 11th. I think Brentford didn't. I think Brentford lost it and Spurs only drew. So we can start really looking up the table now. Fulham firmly in our sights. Southampton next in the league.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'll be absolutely criminal if we don't beat Southampton, to be honest. Because, they're looking at still on for the record fewest points in the Premier League, aren't they?
Well, you and I are going by official coach. So if Palace louse this up, I'm going to be fucking livid.
Yes. The old club coach trip. You got to do one every now and then.
Yeah, you do. Top it up. I think the last one we did was that Wolves game, wasn't it? Where you cried.
Yeah.
So let's recreate. If we can have another 2-0 away win, I'll take that.
And you know what? The coaches serve a great purpose for a lot of people where it's makes life super easy for them and whatever. So yeah, great, but it's not quite for me. But when it is a South Coast game midweek and it drops me back at Selhurst and I live a 5-minute walk from Selhurst, it's pretty ideal, to be honest.
Yeah, that's not too shabby.
It's not too shabby at all. And that last time we went and took it together, what was it? 2-0 away win.
It was.
We're good at those.
We are. Let's keep that going. Ollie, I know you're listening in Marbella. Sort it. Make it happen.
I mean, if we win 2-0 away from home in our next game at Fulham, we've got to be pushing some sort of 2-0 record.
Must be.
Yeah, it's just getting silly.
I was going to say, now we said that, Anderson scoring first minute.
Yeah.
Picking me out in the crowd and giving me the two fingers.
Well, especially considering Burnley have even started conceding some goals now, so
I know.
Maybe the clean sheet magic is out of the air. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to talk about. Oh, I know. I know. I've got something. I remembered now. It's we're so used to seeing a relegation calculator on the BBS, but now there is an 8th place calculator.
There is. I have to admit to you, I have not once clicked into that thread. I haven't even looked at the top half of the table this season. So that thread is some kind of weird magic that I don't understand. I don't know what people...
I'm sorry. I shouldn't do it, but I just look at the table and add the 6 points on from what we should have got against Brentford and Everton and just cry.
It's depressing. But I don't know what the BBS would do if we finished 8th. I think the internet might shut down. I don't know if that's possible, but I think someone will pull the plug on the internet. I don't know what I'd do if you finished 8th for that matter. Nothing to complain about. Be weird. There'd be no more podcast.
Yeah, we would never be able to record because we'll be away in Europe.
Yeah.
But we are 11th, and 8th isn't very far away. Now, we had a whole theory that before the Ipswich game, we need 8 wins from the last 11 because we've got so many teams above us between those places. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of them play each other. We play those teams above us. You know, we've still got to play. Who we still got to play? We still got to play Bournemouth. Do we still play Bournemouth?
Yeah, at home. Yeah.
Bournemouth at home.
Brighton at home.
Newcastle away. City away. Forest at home. Mm-hmm. So we've still got to play those teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Forest is a stretch too far, obviously, but, you know, we can, you know, we're beating those teams. We're closing massive gaps on them. I just want to enjoy this, you know, while it's happening because me and you are both on the same page always. It all going Pete Tong is only around the corner.
Yeah. And you know, we do have a pretty rough run in for teams higher up than us, but you know, and honestly, normally I'd just be like, well, let's just try and win enough to stay up, which I will admit we've already done. But under Glasner, it just feels a bit like, well, why can't we go and beat them? Why can't we go up the table? Like what we did at the end of last season, none of us could have predicted that, and we were fucking on one. And when you look back at the start of this season, where all the things that sort of plagued the beginning of our season with like injuries and players coming back late and signings not getting in early, etc., etc., etc. Like you say, since November, we've been on a tear. So we're clearly capable of it, and we've had some very good results this season already. So it's going to be tough. I think the running is tough, and we've got really hard games to go and try and get results from. But I think if ever we were going to do it, it's under Glasner, isn't it? So,
I mean, I'd rather qualify for it via the FA Cup, to be honest, to win the FA Cup.
Me too.
But unfortunately, Hesketh, we can't win the Premier League title this year. Liverpool have already got 1 point too many. So
cancel that contract renewal. Unacceptable.
Yeah, but so we'll enjoy it while it lasts because disaster's never too far away. But I mean, if we end the season like we ended last season, we go in Europe. I don't think there's any doubt about it. To be honest, we ended like last season. It could be a Champions League place.
Oh my God! I don't even know why I'm even entertaining this conversation. It's like I'm sweating as we record. Here's a potential issue. So the England squad is getting announced soon, and Tuchel's been at a couple of Palace games recently. So two-pronged question: who do you reckon he's going to call up from Palace? And which of those players is going to get injured for the season as a result?
Well, I mean, it really can't be Dean Henderson. I mean, he's obviously going to get called up. He's got to be pushing Pickford hard. Everton's upturning form is probably not going to help his cause, but you know, good for England that we've got two such informed goalkeepers going into a tournament year, whatever. But yeah. I think he'll go. I mean, you can genuinely see a space opening up for Ty again, given our left back woes. Whether it be this squad, I don't know. But
was my outrageous prediction that this year that Henderson and Ty will start an England game together?
Oh, I can't remember.
Fucking hell! Hang on a minute. This could be this could the season's getting even better.
But yeah, I mean, I assume Adam Wharton's going to get called up.
Yeah. Gay is nailed on, isn't he?
Gay's nailed on. Yeah, he's a starter, isn't he? To be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why Tuchel could watch the Ipswich game and take Ebbs because he was definitely a much brighter spark. Oh, we didn't even talk about that chance where he did the kick-ups, lifted it over the two players and volleyed it, dragged the like really poor connection with his left foot, which is, kind of unlike him. He's pretty two-footed, and that's why he was very disappointed, pulling his shirt over his head because he knew he was on for an iconic Premier League goal there. If that went in. That'd be one that'd be played all over the shot. It's almost the Tizier-esque.
Yeah, that would have been unreal. That goes in. He's 100% in the England squad.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's especially you've got to want the players to get in the squad. Remember how we was all buzzing when 4 went to the tournament? I listened to Dean Henderson on Ben Foster's podcast in the last week. Really worth a listen, go and digging out. I think it was recorded in December. So unfortunately, it was recorded when we were still not in amazing form, in a bad place in the table. But yeah, really good sort of coverage of Henderson's career. And yeah, he was talking about, you really could sense how big a deal it was for Palace, and they were loving it that they were all there, and it was nice for them all to have each other on that tour and whatever. So get really close as well to winning it, when we could have pretended we were West Ham. We won the Euros. But no, so we've got a gap now. We're not going to. I don't think we're going to do a podcast review of HamCam pre-season friendly, mid-season friendly.
No.
But there is a chance a podcast will be coming to you next week, which we can't quite confirm yet, but maybe it will be coming. So keep your eyes peeled to the socials, and if we confirm it, we'll let you know. Either way, if we can't confirm it, maybe we'll have a week off next week. But you might get lucky. You might get a super special episode of Winging It. What will it be? 68. One away from greatness.
Nice. Right.
But anyway, thank you, Hesketh, for joining.
Thank you, mate.
Albert, I hope you're doing well in Bangkok, and back with us soon. Come away from the shiny lights. Return to Blighty.
Put your rosé beer down and get back here.
Okay, brilliant. So thanks to everyone for listening, and until next time, up the Palace.